All right, good evening, everybody. If you are in Liberia, we say welcome to Liberia Shall Rise. I know it's 7 p.m. your time. And if you are here in the US, we say good afternoon, depending where you are. Good afternoon and welcome to the broadcast. I'm Augustine Sharif, and I'm here with my good friend, Mr. Emmanuel Sapulus here. We are going to have Dr. Positive join us shortly. Mr. Sapulus, how you doing, sir?
Oh, by God's grace, I'm wonderful, wonderful. And I want to take this time to say again, even though the day have passed, but Merry Christmas to our people back home. Merry Christmas to all of our audience in Liberia, America, and around the world. I want to say, I hope you are having a wonderful, wonderful Christmas weekend. And as we look forward to 2025, let us work together, join our hands, and see how we can develop ourselves individually, develop our community as a group, and develop our countries, especially Liberia as our country, as our beloved country. Let us develop that country so that we can have a different dimension in the next 2030, 2035, 2050, whatever vision we want to have. Let's set a goal for that. But it has to start now.
All right, gentlemen. Okay, so again, we want to say welcome to the broadcast. Dr. Positive, Mr. Sapalucia, and everybody else. We are going to enjoy ourselves. We are going to share the show and just have a good time today. There's no stress. I know there's a nightclub in Liberia called No Stress. So on the show today, we got no stress. We put Sapalucia. So, how you managed to know that play? The way in your heart.
I know her. I've been like bro few times. I know her, but no stress.
I just
So
have
I
work
know
out
how.
on that place. My man, if you're tracking government officials in the country, you want to know who get what. I just about that song, that
Okay.
JoJo place there, they call it No Stress. I'm telling you right
All
now,
right.
it
And
rep
the man
it
Obi
close
Casino, the man Obi Casino that playing LBS too.
it close to the member firehouse. So I'm just telling you right now. So now you know.
Wow.
But anyway, guys, I hope each of you guys had a very good Christmas. Steven, how was your Christmas? Hope you had a good
Well,
time.
again, hello everybody. Again, Merry Christmas, Happy belated Christmas. I hope you enjoy. The thing is, I'm still waiting, Sharif. I told the people my Christmas on them, but I get nothing yet.
Nobody responded, my man.
Yeah,
How
so
can
I'm
you
still,
say
I'm
that?
still, I'm still here waiting for my
But
chopping.
maybe
But
I can speak for the people.
my man, please let me finish my thing. Oh, it's not all already. Yeah, man. Yeah. So
You say a
again,
Christmas on the people. The people take it out, yeah. So it's still on there.
okay, okay. So
Sabonis,
everybody,
I'll block
how you
you.
guys?
I'll block you if you don't start disturbing the man time. I'll block you.
How you guys
He said
doing?
freestyle. Yeah, show topic today. He said freestyle.
Mm. If Sapolosia will let me say hello to you today. I hope all of you guys are doing well. It's been a great year. We didn't want to end the year without doing one last show. So today is freestyle. If you are watching Liberia Shall Rise, just call in, put your comments, anything you want to talk about, just throw it. Anything that was your highlight this year, you can drop it in here and we'll kind of touch on it a little bit for you because we just want to say thank you and thank God for being here at this time of the year, and wish all of you guys all the best. I know we got 2 more days, actually, yeah, 3 more days for the year to end, but all the best to all of you. Be careful out there. We want to see you in 2026. I refuse to fly at this time of the year so I can be safe. I'll be home. I know they say water can kill you, but me, I'd rather die with water in my hand than flying or driving somewhere at the time of the year. So I'm home. I hope you guys are doing everything you can to be safe. Again,
Sabonis, here. Going forward, when the man say anything about me and you, I would say, I would take your side. I gave you 1 minute. You spoke for 30 seconds. Stephen already talked for 2 minutes. So, introduction.
Sapolosi, I took my time. Oh, Sapolosi, I took my time. And one last thing I want to tell you
He
guys.
stayed talking. Then he said one last thing.
No, one last thing, yeah. These guys actually recommended that I go take part in Liberia strongman competition. They were actually complaining in the background that the people didn't invite me to the Liberia strongman competition. So you'll be my
Show
judge.
your
Just
muscle.
tell me next
Show your
year the
muscle.
Liberian
Say man,
people got
one
to
tight shirt
invite
today.
me.
Show your
Eh?
muscle. Show
All
your
right.
muscle, my man.
All right, gentlemen, let's get a show on the road. I'm glad that we actually start the show with the whole Christmas story. I'm glad that we start the show. Look, I mean, gentlemen, I want to give you guys 30 seconds. Let's talk. I mean, Sapolis, our hustle boy in Morovia. Our hustle boy in Morovia. Some of you know about Christmas clothes and all of that stuff. But let me ask you guys, growing up as children in Liberia, Steven Sabalusia. Starting with Sabalusia here for 1 minute. What were some of your memorable events in Monrovia during Christmas time? I'm not talking about other holiday, but during Christmas time. What were some of your memorable events that you experienced?
So, unfortunately for me, when I came to Monrovia, when I started living in Monrovia, it was a hustle time for me. From the time I entered Monrovia, when I came back after the war kind of subsided and we left from the interior and came back to Monrovia, it was a hustle time.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really remember celebrating Christmas like I did when I was a child, when I was in my early age with my father back home. I would like to reference that point when I was with my father back home when I was very little, around 5, 6 years old. What my father did for me was he would give me all these coins, a whole sack of coin, normally quarters, and he would make me go from house to house, the older people, and give them those days. In the 80s, right? 25 cents was the
Mm-hmm.
big money, and I would have to divide that money to all the older people in the town. He did that every time when I was with him. Now, fast forward when I came to Monrovia
What?
after the war or during the war, things were tough. I don't want to call it celebration because when you compare celebration of what other people did during Christmas and you see what I did during from 1992 all the way to I left Liberia was ready for hustle, right? Christmas we're hustling, but we still merriment in our own way. In that on that day we played Lulu, we played checker almost all day, and then later on in life when we started having a girlfriend and stuff like that. Then we'll take our girlfriend to the video club. I don't know one memorable one that I had. I didn't like this. I didn't like Ine show, right? And my wife now, at the time, liked Ine show. I remember we went to Riverdale Cinema. We sat there for 4 to 5 hours. I hated that
Just
show.
watch one
I
show.
slept. I woke up and I was still watching that show. That's one of the things I didn't like. Yeah, but I don't know where I spent the Christmas well. I mean, I know my wife my girlfriend, who is my wife now at the time, but that was one of the things I remember from one of the Christmas that I spent in Monrovia.
Oh, okay. So, Steven, let's talk about your peaking time. When let's talk about your memorable time. I mean, one
So,
minute. You speak too long, I'll cut you.
so for woman Benedict, man, just do anything that he had to do, just get it to a daughter, man. 4 hour watching video. Anyway, for me, growing up, what I remember was Christmas Day. We used to go to our uncles. We used to get dressed, where anything the woman buy for us. So, and our uncle too used to buy stuff for us for Christmas. So, but one Christmas I remember this very well. They bought this red and white trash suit for me. Actually red and white Adidas. I think our my outfit for a long time. I enjoy it. But the thing was the woman will cook split peas most of the time they either cook split peas or jollof rice on Christmas Day. Right. So
Mm.
that was my favorite time of the year because I love split peas. And once the split peas is made with the salt pork and the chicken and everything in there again, Christmas, Jesus, he just forget it, but they will be hot. So those are some of the things that we will enjoy. Then after eating that, then we go to our uncle on 14th Street. We'll walk to Uncle Victor's house, and basically Uncle Victor too has something to eat too, so we'll enjoy that too. So those are the little memories that I had. But then as I started growing older, for me, like I used to like watches, so I would buy watches for myself on Christmas Day and things that I would save my little money and then just buy some a nice watch on Christmas Day. But one of the
Okay.
watches I bought after a few months, my cousin destroyed it. So that was one of the good and bad experience. But anyway,
He'll,
that's it for
he'll,
me.
he'll pay you back. But so, gentlemen, the point of this question, where I'm going with this story is basically Christmas time. As I remember as a kid, it was a big time in Liberia. Even if your parents did not have it, those that have parents to support them. If your parents did not have it, they would do all their best. They will sew their lapa suit. They will sew your lapa suit. They
Yeah,
will
yeah.
buy your DK. They will buy your. I mean, the parents never want the children to just have that day without having
That's
something.
something, yeah.
The parents will do everything. They want the kids to go out and have fun. And I remember, children will go from place to place that you both said, go to this other family member. Oh, uncle, are you from a Christmas? Or give you 25 cents or whatever. Right now in Liberia, maybe it'll give you $20 liberty or $50 liberty. I don't know. But it gave you something. But I don't remember ever during Christmas where parents just send their children out 4 or 5 years old or 6 year old kids and just send them out by themselves without any adult supervision or another older brother who was at least 10 or 12-year-old. People went together in group and they supported
Yeah,
each
yeah.
other.
Mhm.
Somebody said, if you guys remember, during our time, say, I don't know, this time should be worse. But during our time, safety was a big concern. People will look at it and say, how many out there for Christmas, during Christmas, that time can take people children. So
Mhm.
parents, they will always say, Junior, you and your brother there, stay together. Don't go to nobody. You know, just go to your family house. That used to be a serious thing. I'm saying this because I saw some videos during this week, this gone Christmas, where there were children missing all over Monrovia. These children did not know where to go. They did not.
Mhm.
Police had to intervene. Police were looking for their parents because some of these children they get cell phone to call mom and dad. And so these children they were missing. And then I saw another video where this little kid who was involved in this fatal accident, where I'm not going to tell about what ended up happening to that little kid, but fatal accident where he got hit by a moving object, and this little kid just bring matter all over the street. And so when you look at those kind of things, man, are we were the parents just being neglectful, or is it just a don't care society nowadays? Let me start with you, Sapolo, before I come to you, because safety, to me, safety still matters. My parents never even let me go to on the beach by myself. No, it was a big deal.
Yeah, and safety was a big deal at the time. But let us also look at our current situation in Liberia. Back in the days, and I'm not trying to say people. I don't want to call it neglect and not neglect. It's in between there, right? Because we got to look at who is sending who out. Now let us look at who are having children during you and our time. Okay, most of our people who were having children were mature people who were full-grown adults. However, these days, some of the people that are having kids are people who cannot even take care of themselves. They don't even know they are right from their wrong, and then they are having these kids. So to give time to themselves, they let some of these kids go out unsupervised because when we were growing up, we always had older brother or older sibling or somebody in the home that would guide us. These days, the people that are having kids are like some of them 15, 16 years old. And by the time they reach 18, 19, 20, they got a 5, 6 year old kid. But 20-year-old, you're really not responsible, in my opinion. You're really not responsible to know
And they still
right
want to
from
go
wrong.
out to have fun for themselves. They themselves still want to go have fun, right?
Yeah, yeah, they want to still go out and have fun. So they will allow that child to go out and say, okay, just go right next door or go to your uncle or your auntie place. And then that child will find maybe another child and they start going out. Back then the street was isolated. These days you got motorbike, you got keke, you got all these different other safety risks, right? And I think people have gone away a little bit. We are kind of straight away from the harmenting because harmenting was a big deal during our time.
Yep.
These days, it's not really, people are not conscious about it anymore, right? They are thinking on different things. Hardship is there, so people are not sitting to really think about, okay, what is good for my child at this time. So many factors are there. So I don't want to just allude it to, I don't want to a single thing out to say this is what responsible for it. There are multiple factors, in my opinion, that will be responsible for what is happening to our generation in Liberia right now.
Steven, let me hear from you, man, on the safety issue for our kids. With all of these things that were happening on Christmas Day, kids missing and kids involved in accident, all of those. Are parents just not caring for their kids anymore? They just sending the kids out there by themselves?
Well, Sharif, I probably wouldn't want to blame it just on the parents this time around, right? So in
Mhm.
our society, we have to look both ways. The children, like Sapolosi has said, children that are having children is another thing. But the people that drive in the car, right? Are they intoxicated? Are they drunk drivers? Are they on drugs? What would make somebody to see a child and they don't stop, right? That's the question we should also be asking ourselves, because back then, when we even go back to normal time, even I'm not saying there was never accident in doing those times, but people were a little bit careful when they see children, they will slow down and things like that. But nowadays, people sometimes feel like, hey, I'm speeding, so whoever come on the road at their own business, right? And then in Liberia, do we have laws against drunk driving? The person who hit that child, what happened to the person who hit the child? Were they arrested? You know, and things like that. So that's the whole thing we want to look at, because I think on those days, you know, in America here, when you're driving in an area where there's a school zone where there are children, there's a 25 miles per hour speed limit, right? What is the speed limit on, let's say, Bamuma Road, that main road in front of the
From my
CDC?
house.
That's a UN track.
Yeah,
That's
you
UN
and drive
track.
former CDC headquarters. That's in the near community. People piled up on that road because now we have the Invisible 11 Park over there, right? So that's a major highway, but people are plenty over there. So what's the speed limit on holidays? Nobody know, right? Is it something that is mandated, or is it enforced during that day? Do we even have police standing down there to say, if you have a car and you're coming around this area, you have to slow down? So if we don't have any of those things in place, then to just blame the parents, I think is a sad thing. Because the kids, like if a child is living in Rototown, for example, and they start hearing music, they follow the crowd, right? They go to Invisible 11 Park. That child may not even know how to come back home, but they were just following the music, following everybody that were walking and dancing, and they went to Invisible 11 Park. Now they don't know their way back home, right?
But
So
at some point in time, wouldn't the parents be
so
responsible for
again,
their child to just go out in the street?
Sharif, you know, we can say so and say so, right?
Yeah.
When you have a child, when the children in front of the house, the whole village is taking care of the child. So when you leave the child outside, sometimes you think Auntie Julia is looking at the child, Auntie Martha is looking at the child, but then at some point, that child disappear among the crowd. So not that I'm not putting blame on I don't want to put blame on the parents, but our communities are basically a village that everybody care for each other some kind of way. I don't know if that is changing also in Liberia,
It's
right?
changed. It has
You
changed.
understand? So if that is changing, then that becomes a problem on the parent alone. Because when I was growing up, I'll tell you one quick story. I know you said 30 seconds, but I did something from my house. My mom ran behind me all the way going towards Lakpasi. When I was climbing the hill, one of our neighbor, the big brothers in the community, he didn't want to stop me for the woman to catch me. And she started beating me from all the way on the road going, and the whole community was in support of her. What did Steven do down the woman beating him like that? So you couldn't do any wrong along your neighbor's house. You understand? But now if that is changed, then we have a lot of work to do. Then that's where government have to really take charge.
You know, and I think this is a comment that's coming from one of our viewers that said we are solving issues individually. We forget or ignore the power of community. So yeah, and there's so much truth to this particular statement this person is making, because man, seriously, look, there were times, you know, you and myself, I know we're still talking about our childhood in Liberia, but there were times that even if you were going, I mean, you would go and tell your mom, say, oh, mama, Opa and Junior boy, they're all going to West Point or they're going to the beach. Can I go with them? Then your mom will call Opa and Junior. Opa and Junior, my son Bobo going with y'all. Y'all make sure you're watching and bring him back. That's the power of community.
Yeah.
Make sure anything happen, you call me. I mean, somebody come here and report. Because at the time we didn't have cell phone, but that was the thing. You stuck together, and when you went, Opa was responsible enough to make sure, Junior, you got to stand right next to me. We'll stay here together, and then we'll go home together. But I mean, when I saw some of these stories on Facebook about what happened in Monrovia and kids missing and they didn't know how to get back home, the police looking for their parents, I was just like, you know, good job to the police for intervening. Good job for whoever turned those kids over to the police. Great job to that person. But man, if I'm a parent, even though our time we used to highlight Haman or you know some kind of me, I used to be afraid of them as Sunday temple people. I live from so me, I used to be afraid of people used to say that. I know, and I'm not saying they did anything wrong, but I'm just saying that was what was in my head when I was young. And so all of those different things, because we were afraid of it, we stuck together as a group. When we went out, we stuck together. I never went out as a little boy by myself in the community. And we look out for each other. And so, you know, to the parents, you know, who actually experienced this kind of stressful event during the Christmas break, look, Sorry, but hopefully you found your kid and that was a lesson learned. To the parents who actually lost their kids because of accidents and all of that, it's a sad story. But hopefully, again, it's a better lesson to learn. You make sure your kids are with someone. You don't just send children in the street like that by themselves. And you know, and gentlemen, you know, basically, this is not just the first time these kind of stories have happened. You know, by the summer of 2024, I mean 2025 here, there was a story that was already circulating on Facebook where this kid went to school, went to Catholic school, and he was kidnapped. And that kid, the news were all over town, and eventually they held him for ransom. And I was
Hmm.
shocked. I said, man, they're
In,
doing
in
this,
Liberia.
they're doing this in Liberia.
Wow.
And eventually the kid was found. But what I'm saying here, though, if your kids are going to school, I mean, this is a more risky time than our time because they have all sort of things taking place, not just in Liberia, but all over Africa. Children are getting killed because of organ harvestation, black market organ. A lot of things are happening.
Mhm.
Ritualistic killing, those things are happening in the country. It is not time that you allow your kids to just walk off your side and send 8, 10 year, I mean 5 to 10 year old kids on the street by themselves. It's time to take some responsibility as a parent. If you want your kid to go to Invincible Park, take the kid. Go and
Yeah.
have fun. When you bring the children home and they're sleeping, then you go to Calabash and enjoy yourself in the night. That's fun. But you don't just allow your kids to go in the street by themselves and something happen and then you all over Facebook crying. Sabolisa, go ahead. I know you want to say something, brother.
Yeah, you know, Steve mentioned certain things, talk about government involvement, which I appreciate. But if you look at what have happened in Liberia in the last 20 years, the government have gotten involved, in my opinion, in a negative way. In that those things that community used to help with, the government is taking it out of the community. Even discipline in school. And I'm not saying people should go and start abusing kids in school. That's not what I'm saying. Right? Because yes, you have instructors who will go and abuse students in school. And you know, I give simple similar example here when one of my kids was in school and he had some trouble with teachers, and I was invited to the teacher, I mean to the school, and I made this point to the principal that it is sad that we as parents and teachers, the government had gotten involved and taking the power from us because they want to institutionalize the incarceration rate. That's how I look at it. Yeah, if you look at it, if you yourself just look at the statistics, right? Your children spend more time with you. The next person that they spend more time with is the classroom teacher.
Teacher, yeah.
Is
Mhm.
in the school. But you take discipline from the parent because they say when the parent discipline the child doesn't abuse. And the same thing Ellen Johnson started introducing in Liberia as well. You and I remember when we were in Liberia during the 1990s, when Taylor went on J.J. Rawa's school campus to whip his daughter because she was acting up. So he showed that discipline should be maintained in the school. That's what he did. Ellen Johnson Saliki, and she reversed that. She said discipline should not be in school. It should be with parents. Well, I know Liberians, and even this, I know there was one or two cases where they were charging parents in Liberia with abuse of children, right? And I'm not saying parents should take stake and stuff and start beating their children, because that become abuse. However, there are disciplinary action that you can take on your child that can be beneficial to them. I went through discipline. Yes, some people will call it abuse, and I myself will call it abuse based on the gravity of it at some point, right? But we still need to maintain that tradition that we had, that culture that we had where the community were looking out for one another. I will tell you this: when I was little, I was stubborn. Okay, and
I can still see it.
I was stubborn. So everywhere I went, I had some problem. But I knew this lady that we all live around the Brisbane, those who from Broadway area, Brisbane Road area. She was a disciplinarian. She was one of the kindergarten teachers. And when I go on the soccer field, I'll be acting or fighting. That lady will chastise me, and I dared not to go and tell my cousin at the time I was living with that Mrs. Flower whipped me. I wouldn't. If she saw me doing anything, she would take action. But those power have been taken away from the community because of abuse and not of our own decision making. It's because the West is telling us this is how you should treat your children. This is how you should. I don't think that's how it should be. And I will continue. I will be consistent with this. If we are making any decision, let us make those decisions based on how it affects us, not because how somebody else think it affects us. If the government wants to get involved in these issues, it should be based on what they see in the community, not based on what America tells them say is good for their children, because it's not even working in America. So what makes you think it's going to work for your country, right? They have used the incarceration as a business. Do we want to do the same thing in Liberia? Because when you take discipline from the parents, you take discipline from the schools, that's what it end up being. You start making profit out of putting your children in prison. That's the point I wanted to make when it comes to the government issue that Steve talked about.
Yeah. So again, I know it's a sad story that we started our broadcast with today. Just kind of thinking, looking at that. But again, hopefully this is a lesson learned. Parents, you are responsible for this wonderful thing called children that God gave you. You are responsible for those kids. And look, your loyalty. And look, I respect parents. There are parents in Liberia who will not allow flour to sit on their children. There are a lot of parents, and I see it. We see it every day. The people that are pushing the economy in Liberia, they are women, the market women. Those people, some of them, they don't even know how to spell SOSO. They don't know how to do that SOSO GeoGo. They don't know it, but they will do the very best. They will sacrifice to make sure that children or their grandkids get the best education. And there were people that were sacrificing even this on Christmas, with the toughest economy that they have. People were still doing their best to make sure the children have clothes, because they never want other people to look at their children and make fun of them. So they did all of that. So parents, be responsible for these kids. Keep your eyes on them and save them. Your security that you give those children, man, they are just some of the best things that you can do. Gentlemen, I want to go back. I want to go to another. Except you guys have any other?
Yeah, let's just respond to Ms. Ifwa comment here. She said educators need training on how to discipline. That's the first thing she said. And the second thing here, she's saying that this is where all stakeholders have to come together: parents, school, community, and then government. So, sis, I think you are right on the spot, and I think we'd like to end this segment on that here, because this is what we are talking about. Everybody got to get involved, because there have to be some level of discipline. And the Bible we all believe in says, if you spare the rod, you spoil the child, and then train up a child in a way that he should go. Right. So, or leave the other part for the deacon and
Prince
here. Yeah. Yes.
I said, Stephen, you eat show on me today, my man. I didn't know you know Bible verses. But anyway, Stephen, Dr. George is asking for the link. Dr. George is asking
it's in the WhatsApp. It's in the WhatsApp. I will find it and share it with him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Respond to his message. Respond to his message.
Yeah. Let me just finish. I'll get to Dr. George. So basically, what this is saying is true, but how do we do this in Liberia, where we don't have these kind of system in place, where you train people, where you bring people together to teach them, maybe partner with the schools and then partner with parents some kind of way, send a mass letter home on things that are permitted in disciplining and all those kind of stuff. So what would be the limit of discipline? Those things have to be defined. Like somebody taking how you call it, pepper and putting it in a child eye. All those things have to be taken out of the discipline book, right? Taking pepper, putting it in the child nose or the butt, and all that kind of stuff have to be taken out of the discipline book, and then just leave it to, hey, when you do this, you'll get this punishment, or you'll not get your phone, or you'll not get something, So I think there should be a limit, because some parents do abuse as well, and then some teachers do abuse as well. So I think we need some level of discipline. I will end on here and go in the background and get Mr. George on.
Okay.
So
go ahead, Sapolicia. Go ahead, Nick.
So the point you stress here, especially with the parents, schools, community stuff. Remember what have happened in Liberia, and this is just from our experience in the last few years when I visit. The PTA has now changed from what it used to be, because there were parents and teachers were coming together to decide on what needs to be done in the school. However, those now who becoming PTA president and whatever, they're using it now as a commercial means to get money and produce program for the school building, whatever fundraising they can do. I think they have divided the aim of PTA to use it for personal gain, and I think that is wrong. We need to now start focusing on how we can use PTA to get involved in this, so that power can be given back to the teachers, the parents, and of course the educators, who's our Ministry of Health, if they have the social social service team, to get involved in this thing social security to be involved in schools as well. I hope we have how to call it, the social welfare teachers or whatever in the school, so that they can work with the PTA to structure a kind of discipline that can be given to the school, to structure the discipline that parents can also have. Because if we have this psychological training, because that's very important. Psychological safety is not really taught in our country, in Liberia especially. So we need to start having this dialogue, this discussion on psychological safety, because that's where we need to that's where we start finding this loophole on the things that we talk about abuse, like putting pepper in somebody. I was pepper before, which is an abuse, right? So if we start to identify these things on psychological safety, then we'll understand that, hey, I'm a parent, I love my child, I don't think this is the best step to take, but it has to be based on a community or relationship.
All right, gentlemen. So look, I hear you guys, and I think, look, I don't want to lose track of the gravity of the situation, and I don't want to lose track of our story. And all the points you guys are making, these points are valid points. But again, I still come back with the question: how in the world does discipline in school help our children to not just wander away from home and just? And I think I see the link. I see where you guys are driving at. But a parent who sat there and sent her 6, 7 year old kid in the street by themselves and said, go to your empty house and go look for Christmas. And bad thing happened to that child. How is school discipline supposed to correct that?
No.
I'm still thinking the parents, you are still somehow responsible for that particular event. You are responsible for that event. Because look, you, Sapalucia, I know you live in a very safe neighborhood. I've been to your home in Texas. You live in a very safe neighborhood, safe community. But even when I walk in your apartment and in your house, not apartment, in your house, the very first time I saw up there, there's a Liberian flag, Liberian little sculpture right at the entrance that said, this is a Liberian house or something. I can't remember it exactly, but something that you said, this is a Liberian house. So basically, though, what that tells me is when you come in this house, you expect to get the same, speaking to the children, expect to get discipline, expect to be treated with the value that I carry. That's what I got from that statement. And so it is the same too. So parents are responsible. You're not just going to allow your kids to just run around or the Houston area just because. No, you still have some sort of discipline for your kids. So I'm still holding these parents responsible. What happened on Christmas Day to those children, whether children got missing or children got involved in accident, it should never have happened. There should have been some sort of supervision. You don't just send kids, especially with the busyness of Monrovia. Monrovia is overflowing with people now. You got a whole Decemberist in Monrovia, and you got people from the interior coming to Monrovia. Everybody congregating in this one place. The place is overflowing with people. And everybody I've spoken to, they say, man, the traffic, the people, you go everywhere. You see the videos. And so why would you allow your child to get in the street and say, go to your uncle's house? And the uncle doesn't live right next door. The uncle doesn't live next door. That uncle can live about 5, 6, 7 minutes walk to get to that uncle's house. You don't do that. So the parents are responsible. They should take some accountability for their children, take care of those kids, and make sure the kids are safe. Drop them off, or you go with them. Don't send the kids in the street. Yeah. That's just where I want to leave it. But gentlemen, we also have some wonderful stories. But before I go to the next step, let me just speak to our viewers real quick. So today is the last show of the year for Liberia Shall Rise. And we are not saying this is our final broadcast. We are just saying for 2025, this is our last broadcast for 2025. And we want to say thank you guys for riding along with us. We see some of your comments. Maybe the few people that join us and gave comments, we appreciate you. Those who send us messages, those who send us topic ideas from Liberia, we appreciate that as well. Those who actually send us news information from Liberia, we say thank you. So today, though, it's just freestyle. So we are just talking about our favorite shows, our favorite segment we discussed this year. And we just started the show with this on Christmas events. So the next segment I want to talk about this summer, we had our president Joseph Boakai. He visited. That was one of our most viewed show, I think. When President Boakai visited the U.S., we did a broadcast on that where we were talking about the visit, the idea behind the visit, what was Liberia going to benefit from this visit. It was called the Economic Summit. I think that's what it was. He was
African Economic Summit.
Yeah, he was among five African presidents that were called to the White House. But with everything that was happening there, Sapalucia, the one thing that Liberia became famous for, apparently, it was English. I didn't know that we spoke good English in our country, but apparently that was something the president here had complimented Joseph Waka, and I took it as a compliment. Other people saw it differently. Whether it was whether it was a compliment or it was something different. Look, the jury is out there. But I look at it as a compliment. But I did not want that to be the only thing that we were known for. Now, did that go to the naivety of the US president? Or did that go to, was that a compliment? Was that not a compliment? But that was one of the segments we discussed. That was a big talking point on our broadcast here as we went. So let's chat about that. What was memorable about the visit? Have that visit paid dividend for Liberia in the first place?
Well, for me, that particular visit, I said it on I think on that particular broadcast that it was not going to do any benefit to Liberia because first of all, we'll go to these places as African leaders or whatever you want to call it for these visits. We are not treated with the respect that we're supposed to be given. So in that particular broadcast, I said was not really going to mean anything from Liberia. Liberia was not going to get anything from it, beside it, whether you want to call it compliment, whether you want to call it insult, whatever you want to describe it as. Besides that, that's the only publicity we got, and there may be other people who did not know about Liberia. Maybe they got to know about Liberia, and maybe they researched Liberia, trying to know a little about it. Maybe if there is any benefit, that's what it is. But as compared as to whether Liberia benefited economically, I have not seen it yet. Maybe it will come. I don't know. But besides Liberia and other African countries being used as a scapegoat for the objective of the West, I don't see any benefit of them. Even as you know, Sheriff Mastin, when it comes to the United Nations and all the other people, I don't see the need because it doesn't benefit us. We are only used as scapegoats to go and vote on things that will not matter to us or that will not benefit us. So his visit to me was nothing. It means nothing to me. I mean, maybe other people have other views about it.
Dr. George, welcome. And today we are just kind of highlighting some of the topics that we discussed this year as our last show. We started by talking about Christmas events that took place in the country where unfortunately kids got missing because parents sent their kids out there and they had no idea what these kids were. And also, there were fertility that took place, this kid that got involved with an accident. And I just can't talk about what happened to the child. But so, that's where we started the segment. So I don't know if you have any opinion on that particular segment before we move on to the other topic that I want to talk about. For me, I really feel that we should hold parents responsible for not sending their kids in the street by themselves.
Thank you. You too, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, and also again, our next segment we're talking about, the president visit. That was one of our most watched segments when President Boakai came here. Whether it was the good English that he got complimented on, or whether it was the economic agenda he came for, And so the question on the table here is, has that visit paid dividends for Liberia? And one of the things that I want to be quick to point out was this whole agenda behind it. And I know I was very careful here, but from the pressure that other African countries face, one of the whole idea behind it was they were actually trying to use countries in Africa, because we saw that happen to Sudan. They were trying to use countries in Africa to be this third country or third nation where they can send illegal immigrants. That's how they call them, illegal immigrants from the states. They will send you to Sudan or send you to Ghana, send you to Nigeria. And so that was going to be part of that economic package. If you do this for us, you agree for us to send this guy to your country or these people to your country, you still stand to benefit. And most African countries they objected to that. And I don't know if that option was ever placed on the table for Liberia. But I know that I watched a lot of Ghanaian broadcasts, and it was actually on a national broadcast where they were saying that Ghana had been tapped to actually accept immigrants to go to Ghana, and the Ghanaian government were pushing against that. And so, whether that visit had paid dividend for Liberia, what was in that economic package, what Joseph Walker brought back home to the people, I don't know. But basically, if you guys know anything on that economic agenda, whatever came out, let's kind of talk about that segment. I don't know what was so telling about it that people kind of like that broadcast. Dr. George, let me start with you on that end, and then we'll go start with you.
Hold on. How come? Hold on, Dr. George. Can you click your mute button? Somebody said they're not hearing you outside,
Oh,
but we
okay.
can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Wow.
right. So yeah. So
Okay.
what I'm saying is that it's a mixed feelings. Sorry, it's a mixed feelings. On the one hand, you have positive things. So if I will piggyback on the Secretary of State statement after the visit of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, it's very clear that the U.S. and Liberia are seeking relationship, and the United States government are going to seek its personal interest in that relationship. And he mentioned a couple of things: the economic interest, minerals deals. So when we look at the nitty gritty now, let's take the situation and then look at the nitty gritty, right? What the Liberia? First of all, we had the U.S. government confirming the visa extension. So Liberian citizens applying for a visa into the US now have 3 years, even though that started with the previous administration. No, I think it started at the beginning of this administration when
Mhm.
American citizens were granted 3 years visa to go to Liberia. The second thing we saw happening was that Liberia was initially on the list, the B list of countries that were going to be sanctioned with visa restrictions if certain things were not clear out. When the final list came up, um, when the final list came up, we definitely had Liberia coming off that list. Sierra Leone and Liberia was on the same B list, but Liberia is off that list now. Sierra Leone is on that list. Then the U.S. government benefited from the 5G passage of the HPX deal, which is an American, even though the owner is Canadian, but it's hardly American. So there's a benefit on that end. There was a $124 million health package deal that was signed, which is mostly in the interest of the U.S. So at the end of the day, yeah, the president visit seems to. Then there's the MCC, even though the final
Mhm.
amount has not been announced. There are rumor in different corridor that there is a line item that Liberia that the other side is not that um, clear on, so they are still holding back until they see it clearly. But Liberia was has the MCC. So if you put all that together, there is both positive and negative. But on the most side is that who actually is benefiting. And from all the conversation I've had and all the points I've stipulated, I think
Mhm.
U.S. interest is projected highly in what is going on right now. And Liberia
Yeah.
interest seems to be at the minimum in what is going on, looking at all the deals and the impact that it has with Liberia.
Yeah. Yeah. Mr. Sabalusi, I don't know if you're hearing us, but
Yeah,
okay. So
yeah. So
go ahead.
no, no, no. It's good that Dr. Joyce said the Liberian government. And I always find is, in my opinion, I don't see it serving the Liberian people. Whether it's the visa, it didn't benefit the Liberian people. It may if visited if the same process that was in place prior to this to the Boga government, the people it benefited are the same people that benefited from it. So there's nothing that changed right there. The MCC scorecard, you and I went over that MCC scorecard. It didn't benefit the Liberian people. Yes, it made the Liberian government look good, but there was no benefit to the Liberian people. So all those things again on the world stage, the government looks good, but the people are still suffering because the economic challenge is still in Liberia. The healthcare, if we look at when we look at the MCC school car, what improvement have been made in healthcare? What improvement have been made in education? None of those schools. If I were grading the Liberian healthcare system, they won't even have 10% because I know what goes into healthcare for a healthcare system to be working for the people. Baka does not seek healthcare in Liberia. His children don't seek education in Liberia. The ministers, the directors, whoever you call it, they don't seek healthcare or any of those things I just named. In Liberia, the children don't do. So it is not really benefiting the people. Look, when the American government goes in any country to negotiate with it, it's not just for the government. It's for the city. It's for the state. It's for the counties. That's what they're advocating for. However, when our African leader or our Liberian presidents or leaders come on stage, anything that comes out is only to benefit them and not the people in Bon County, not the people in Lofa County. And that's what we should be seeking. So I don't think Boaga visit here benefited any Liberian people who were not already getting the benefit that the so-called benefit they are getting from the MCC school card, the whatever package, 1.24 million. Those things will not benefit the Liberian people. That's one point I'm making.
Okay. Yeah, appreciate it. Stephen, I don't know if you are here also because I think there's some kind of freezing going on there. So if you can hear me, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, but we don't see you on screen. We don't see
Oh,
you.
really? Sherry, I think your internet, you gotta come
I can
to
see, yeah, I can see him.
Sherry, your
Okay.
internet, you gotta come to my company, man.
Okay, go ahead, Steve.
All right. So again, I think that the judge and Mr. Sapolosia already said everything, but I'll just add one thing, right? Uh, I think as a country, Liberia or any other African country, all these things partnering with these countries in the West, at some point we have to say we're gonna win ourselves off that. You understand? And just focus on what we can do to develop our own country. Sadly, the way the world runs, you have to be on America's side. You have to be in America pocket in order for sometimes your government to work. And our leaders in Liberia think that if we don't partner with America, we will not go anywhere. So until that mentality changes, whatever negotiation we do, we will do it on behalf of America and not on behalf of ourselves as a country. You understand? So Waka coming here, whether it benefited Liberia or not, we can say yes. He will say yes because Liberia is being recognized by America. We got B1, B2 visa extension, which is for businesses and all those things. But how many Liberian people have been able to apply? Can the government now do a statistic and find out, all right, of the B1, B2 visa you gave us, how many of our people are you accepting into America? Right? Even though you said we have this ability to apply for visa, how many of our people are you accepting? Because those visa, when you apply for them, there's no return on, there's no refund. When you fail the process, you fail. You understand? So maybe the U.S. should kind of lessen the rules that is required to come, because when people apply, they have to go through these stringent requirement. And if you miss one thing, you and myself know we came to America already. You miss one thing on your application, you're not coming. So you already pay a visa application fee. That is going to the United States. It's not coming to Liberia. You understand? So long story short, Sharif, at some point in our lifetime as a country, we have to seek our own interests. And in our discussions, we have to seek our interests. So it's mostly money that will help any country. Here, Ukraine getting billions of dollars offer from the European Union. Liberia left from war up to this time. You not hear the US not give us that kind of money to say $1 billion to help Liberia out of poverty? No. $1 billion to build Liberia infrastructure? No. But every time we come, we get $2-3 million, we happy. So I will stop right there, Sharif.
All right, man. Thank you, gentlemen. I really appreciate it. And Dr. George, since Abelusia spoke directly to you, did you want to add anything before I move on, Dr. George?
Dr. George just dropped
Dr.
himself.
George, you drop off. Okay. So, but no, I think he's going to come back on. Maybe it's the internet issue. But one of the things that I also want to kind of highlight is the simple fact that, yes, Dr. George listed some of the things that I thought was going to come out in the conversation. That is, you have the extended visa, the TPS, and all of that. Now you can say Liberians in the diaspora, Liberians in America, they benefited from the TPS and they're still benefiting because there's no pressure on them to get them out. So that's cool, and that's a benefit. But the people on the ground, the everyday Liberian on the ground, when you sign that economic package, when you say, look, get us mineral right, we know exactly what our language is. When you say, give us mineral right, you want to go to Mount Wologisi and start digging out all of our valuables, and you're not living in Liberia, you're not processing it in Liberia, you're bringing it overseas. And then the people that live in that particular Wologisi area, those people, they don't have good running school. Erosion is going to take place because you don't even put sanitation around there. We went through the same thing with the B Mountain thing that was taking place in Cape Mount County. And so all of that, our people are not directly benefiting. And the other thing that Dr. George talked about, I wish he was still here, the extended visa. It was not until Liberia actually extended that to Americans before the American government said, okay, now we can extend it to you. Because it was the Liberian government first that said, look, I get visa when I'm going to Liberia. So now I got my 3-year visa. When I got that visa, it was this year now before the U.S. government decided to give that same 3 year. So it's not like they did it for us and then we turn around and do it for them. So, it's always about their interest. And then when you talk about even that visa extension, how many people can really go for that interview, like Stephen was saying, to get visa? How many people? Does that increase the people traveling to the U.S.? No, it does not increase that. So basically we'll look at all of those different things and say, okay, this is what happened. This is how we get here. And whether it's benefiting Liberia, posterity is going to judge that. Gentlemen, anything?
Quick, just to what you just said for that particular visa. What all it does, because in the way it was broadcast in Liberia, it inflates the amount of people that apply for visa who are not going to get it. That's all it did to Liberia, which is also increasing poverty in Liberia. Because you got these people who are giving false hope to, telling them, oh, you can go for visa at American embassy. Then they start asking all their relatives for money. They say, oh, they told us we can get visa, because they're not reading the fine print. In fact, they're not even reading anything. They just listen to what the news say, and they go ahead and start asking people for money or selling their properties and start buying visa to go apply for visa, which is not refundable. So you giving more money to the American government while your people getting poorer. That's just the point I want to add to that.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
go ahead, Steve.
yeah, Dr. Just said he had to leave for some emergency. So
Oh man, I hope he's okay. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So again, the B1, B2 visa, when I read, is only for businesses. It's not for the common people, right? So if America had come up and say, hey, for example, we giving Liberian the opportunity to come to America, students will get visa, we'll do a huge exchange program where Liberian will have X amount of priority, then Liberian will come. And something that we don't know is, I think Donald Trump, because of the recent thing that happened, he canceled the diversity visa, the DV, where Mr. Sapolosia and a few of other people came on. So right now a whole lot of Liberian will not be able to apply again.
Why am I putting my business outside? You want for Donald Trump to come for me now?
Yeah, no, so I'm just saying the benefit, you benefiting from it too. So that was a benefit that was out there that many Liberians benefited from, right? Some of us came as refugee. Right now there's only 70, I think he said only 75,000 people can come as refugee, and the refugee thing now is only for South Africa and not even generally open to Africa again. So this America is taking a lot of opportunities from Africa, and Liberia is included in that as well. So when we are celebrating some of these visits, we should ask our president, Mr. President, can you list the things that our country benefiting from your visit? Because when you guys visit America, millions of dollars of Liberian money is leaving to go to America already. So how much benefit are we getting as a people when you make this visit? So those are some of the things that I will be asking our president and his cabinet.
Okay. All right, gentlemen. So, man, we only touched two areas, and basically, just in our time is flying away. But again, before I lose track of this, I want to say thank you to all of our viewers that have been riding with us from January up to December. We're gonna take just a sabbatical. I want to call that sabbatical. We'll take 1 or 2 weeks and get some show ideas in place, and then we're gonna come back here to actually be in full swing and gets the show going again. I believe the second week in January or something. We'll let you know something. But again, look, it has been a fun show. It has been a fun discussion. Our programs here are not monetized. We do it for the community. We do it to actually highlight what we'd like to see done in Liberia. We don't do it because we want jobs. Sapalucia want to run for office someday. We will support him because we know the value he has. Stephen want to open company in Liberia. We'll support him because we know exactly the passion he has for Liberia. And so, basically, though, gentlemen, as we come to the end of the show, I don't want us to forget our tradition here, real quick. We did a broadcast here where we talk about, man, I wish I could touch all of the show, but we did a broadcast here where we talk about tradition because the government of Liberia was now trying to get rid of the institution, what makes our people native Liberian, that poorer and sandy society. These people are going to those schools, learning some skills and learning some real life information. And the Liberian government was saying to the people, hey, man, you got to stop some of these things, cut away some of these practices, and we want you to get rid of this hazardous practices that you're doing. And I know we spend a lot of time talking about the female circumcision. We talked about that, but there were other things that Sapulisa was really passionate about. And after the show, I got a bunch of phone calls. I knew my friend from Maryland was watching because he called me and he just told me, I told you anytime you're talking about sport society, you should call me. But I just told him sorry, Papi. Sorry. But I don't think we did anything wrong on that show. Sapulisa, do you still feel the way you felt when we did that discussion? That this institution or these institutions are still valuable to Liberia, that they should still remain untouched in the country? And are there people still attending these institutions?
People are still attending those institutions, and I think it should still remain. That is our culture, that's our value, and that's what we should try to promote. You see, it's far too long we have come, and we continue to run away from what we know and seeking things we believe in. Our culture is what we know. The value that other people brought to us are things we believe in. Okay, when I walk in Baila and walk along the St. John River, go and swim, go and do whatever I do, when I see an older person coming, before I shake their hand, I will have to hold my hand like this. That's a respect for us. Or I will kind of bow my head to show the authority that he has. Those are values that are given from those schools. When a young man gets out of that school, he is able to, he is independent. Let me put it that way. He's an independent guy who can provide for an entire family. That is a value that that school teaches. You see with our females, they get values from there to weave clothes, basket, things that benefit their community. Again, I will stand by it that if we want to make any change in those things, it should be based on what we see as harmful to us, not what somebody else is telling us is harmful to me. You cannot come to my home and tell me what is good for me. No. I should tell you, look, this is the problem I have. Help me with. But you can't come from outside and start telling me in my house, oh my man, look, you need to buy your child shoe. You need to, that's not your place. And that's what we continue to do in our country. We keep sitting there and the West, the United Nations, and whoever comes for peanuts. They steal more money from us than they give us, and we throw away our values. I will remain, I'm a team that any discussion when it comes to our culture, when it comes to our value, it should come from us and not the other way around.
Okay, Stephen, let me ask you the same question because I got one more question to ask on this particular topic. I don't think we're going to end at 1 o'clock. We'll go a little bit.
That time we can go a little bit today. It's the last show, so we can freestyle. Yeah,
okay, go ahead, Stephen. Give your opinion on this particular.
No, but I think my opinion
society should still be in. Should still be a cornerstone of Liberia. And I bet people who are still lining up to enter those institutions.
No, as far as people still lining, I think Sapolosia answered that because that's his area, right? But I think it's very essential, right? Let me speak small book. It's expedient that the Liberian government keep this thing going, right? Because in every society, when you even go to Germany, right, the people have their own little culture that they follow. Right? Every country you go to, they have something that is deep within their society that hold their society together. Somebody told me the German language itself is a code in its own that people have to learn. And when you learn that German language, it makes you to be something special. That's why you see German engineering is so special, right? So Liberia, that our poorer society, our senior society or institution have to be kept. And like I said on the previous show, these institutions are needed to guard us for the future because there were certain values that our ancestors hold. And the people that are in those society are passing those knowledge down to us as a people or our citizens. And if we eliminate it, then we are killing basically the hundreds and hundreds of years of knowledge that have been passed down, you know. We're going to lose all that. So in order for that to continue, we can do something new. The students that goes through the poor society or senior society or the leaders or the educators in those society, we could probably partner with them and kind of embed some of their teaching into our former schools that we have in Africa, in Liberia, because this thing is like a hidden society. It should remain hidden. I don't know why it was hidden for. I don't know the reason behind why it was hidden, right? But at some point, if we can get to understand how it works and then use some of the teachings to embed it into our educational system, it will be a great thing because we, as a country, we even need a language, a national language. We don't have that. You go to Ghana, you go to Nigeria, you go to all these other places, you see people speaking their national tongue, and it's amazing, and you feel lost. But when you come, when we all Liberians gather, I mean, the three of us on the show right now, we don't even have the same tongue. So we can't talk secret. You understand? As Liberians, we don't have secrets because everybody can hear, or except we go deep into our colloquial. But without a national language, we don't have one core as a people. And I think that's what God also not really united as a people, because we don't have anything that put us together.
So, Sabalucia, I'm going to push back here a little bit and just look. No, Mr. Boyma, if maybe I'll call him too so he can come and add his voice to the broadcast here as well. But look, growing up in Liberia, all I knew that this was a very mysterious organization. And I live in the interior for a little bit. I lived in the interior for a long time. I used to leave the city, go back in the village during Christmas breaks and all of that. But I always knew that this was a mysterious society. And I think maybe that mystery actually get kept in my head. And that is why when I went to Liberia, when I went to the city, when it came to the Masonic Society, I also saw them as mysterious. I didn't know anything about them. I just saw them as mysterious because when I was in the village, these people that came from the bush, I used to call it the bush, and I'm sorry, that's cool. When they come in the town, those of us who were not member of the town were not allowed to stay in the town. And I'm just telling you right now, we're not allowed to stay in the town. And so because they were doing something, and so I just always like, man, they're performing witchcraft, they're doing something, and that is not true. But that was my mindset. And so Stephen Eddie said, it is the Dutch language that actually have the code, not German. But anyways, I believe my point here is this. If for some reason, give me the benefit, okay, I know you highlight some of the benefit. The guy in the village is able to take care of his family. He know all the herbs. He know all of the different things. He can do that. But it only benefits that local community, in my opinion. Forgive me. It only benefit that local village. That's where he can take care of his wife, take care of his children, know how to farm and all of that. That does not transcend into the city hall, the Capitol building, or the and I'm trying to put something here. Someone who is in a Masonic society, if they meet their friend, there's a code or however they greet each other, they will say, okay, this guy is part of that society. I'm going to help him to get a job. Or he's one of us. He's going to get a job. But does that, someone who entered the Power or Sandy society, do they have that same code that when they come to Monrovia, when they open their mouth, they speak, their friend will respect them and say, okay, we are part of the same school? I don't see that. So what's the benefit to the people, to the general population?
And it's good you brought out, because I was trying to reference the Masonic craft as well. The Masonic craft, now, as we knew it growing up, where they were involved in the killing of people. That's something we knew about in Liberia. It was not hidden. That's one of the reasons you who live around the Benson Street or the area, at certain time you could not go out because they said they were doing those things. Now, and some people who are part of it have proven it, yes, it did happen there, but for other reasons. I have never, since I've been in Liberia, I have never heard a church go against the Masonic craft to tell them these are certain practices you can take from the Masonic craft. Do they want to venture into their activities? In fact, it shouldn't surprise anybody that the Masonic craft has a root in the church. The Christians don't come against them. Okay? This is a foreign idea that was brought to us. Even though it has a lot of negatives in there that we know about, we still embrace it. And then our values that we have that benefit us, somebody come and tell us, oh, yeah, it's wrong, then we all turn against it. That's my problem, because we don't have an identity. Now, you talk about what benefit does it have to the it does have a benefit to the community. I think when we had a discussion the last time, we talked about it. When you heard Lofa County, Bon County, Nima County, those days where they were feeding Liberia, it was from those people. So they had economic values. Just because they were not speaking a certain language in the city or whatever, they were bringing food, self-sufficiency to Liberian community. Again, they see other outside folks told them, say the food you're bringing, which are given to you by God, that is beneficial to your health. If you look at every society we live in, every country you live in, the food that you eat, it benefits you naturally based on your existence. But we sat there, the very outsider came and told us, oh, your rice is not valuable, which is not true. Because the rice that we grow in Liberia, nutritionally, it benefits us more than the pusawa or whatever rice that will come from the outside. Because that rice that we're bringing from the outside is not from our region. So when we started eating it, we started getting negative impact, but we still didn't care. Again, self-identity is what we're losing every time we make these changes. As I have always said, and I will maintain it, we should be the one to decide what is good for us, not the outsider. So yes, it has economic values because you build craft, all the artwork were from those places, right? So it's not just localized, it's on a national level because it's benefiting Monrovia, is benefiting other counties as well. So it was not limited to just Baila.
So if I can just add a supporting statement. what Sapolosia said, right? So, Sherry, have you asked yourself one of these days, or anybody who even decide to ban this institution, the traditional outfits we wear or we all are proud of today, who make those traditional outfits? Is it how you call it, Gucci, or is
Ministry of
it
Commerce.
only? Huh?
Is it Ministry of Commerce that makes it?
No, I'm asking Sherry, man. Don't
No,
answer
no,
my
Yeah,
no.
that's a question.
I,
That I
yeah,
just,
no, I
I'm
get the
asking a
question.
question.
I get
Yeah,
the question.
it's a Gucci or what is the other name then? Other BB name then? I don't even know. I don't wear the clothing. Polo, Ralph Lauren, or Omar Musu. Omar Musu is the one that sit down and basically weave that thing handmade, and the thing lasts for years. Sherry, you
Absolutely.
myself can buy our Gucci tomorrow. We wear it one time, nobody wants to see it again. But you wear your African suit is something that you can show up at any event 20 times. Nobody will say, oh, he wearing the same thing, because it's unique. Not a lot of people have it. So that uniqueness, we say, okay, stop the education you are providing to teach people how to make these things. We're going to continue that tradition, and all we'll be buying now, we'll be buying Gucci, we'll be buying all these polo, and we'll be making other people rich. Why about Omar Musu is sitting there with this great talent that she could have passed down to her grandchildren, or she could have passed down to other people in that village, and we're saying they should stop all that practice, right? And just based on one or two bad things that may happen in every society, even in the church. We heard the last time in Liberia, some child was killed in the pastor's house, and that meant they didn't get arrested. Why they didn't close the whole church, right? They didn't do that, but because of this society having one or two bad things happening there, they decided to close the whole thing. They shouldn't do that. It's not fair for our country. It's not fair for the traditional leaders. And like we said earlier, that they should partner with these traditional leaders, find out what are the good things they have, and then try to see how we can embed this into our formal education, and then and make this a national thing. Because I would like to know how to weave those clothes. You understand? I would like to know how to swim. Like Sapolosia, you put him in water, he will survive. Well, you myself here.
The man learned that in the military, man. Move from here.
No.
No. I learned how to swim from Baila.
You see? So that's what I'm saying. The kids that went to that society, they knew how to swim. They knew how to build houses. They knew how to do a whole lot of things that you myself, if something spoil, you calling Francisco. When something spoiling your heart right now, you calling Francisco because you don't know how to put nail in a hammer.
Yeah, but just imagine the people can build house. The people can build houses in Liberia, in my hometown, without using hammer, without using nails.
I believe
using zinc.
I agree. I agree. Look, Sapolosia, I agree. There's a skill. But you know what? Make it appealing that people will want to see the benefit. Because for me, though, you can take me from here, even though I was in a village where when the girls, when they were coming out, they put the white chalk on there. They come out with an iron titty and we'll run. We'll leave. Because, my man, we're not part of that thing. We're not part of it.
You couldn't look at it again.
No, you spasmo and then you run. You can't stay there too long. You can't stay too long. Something will happen to you. They will swear you or something will happen. But here's the thing.
But Sheriff, you made a good point. You made a good point.
Let a man finish.
Yeah. Make it appealing that when you see a friend, man, look, let me tell you, the only one time that I can always say, I brought this up the last time we had this conversation. I had two guys, they were talking, two younger guys, man, in Liberia, but also in Grand Bassa County, two men, they were talking. We were boys at the time, young boys, and they were talking. I was attending Basel High School. They were all in the same school, and before the war came, and these guys were talking. They were talking, and I walk over there, and these men, they did not even recognize me. They just talking to each other, young teenagers talking to each other. And you know what, man? I stood over there. I never really grasped the concept of what they were talking about. And when I went back in the classroom, the guy told me, I told him, I said, oh, he said, oh, Sharif, how you doing? We started talking. He said, oh, I was talking to my brother. So I said, oh, what do you mean your brother? You know, and we all in the same school. He said, oh, no, we're talking. We're talking as men. You know, he just kept talking in code. I never understood that. So that's when later on the other guy was able to tell me that, oh, we attended the same school together. So I said, oh, what do you mean same school? Then, of course, digging, they both entered the Poro Society together. So in that particular area, I felt very small because these men were talking about things that I didn't know nothing about. At that particular point in time, did it click in my head that, man, I would love to know what is? Yes, it clicked. But it is not a national symbol. It is not something that when I meet Sapalucia, when he shake my hand or when he says something to me, I will say, okay, that man know what he's talking about. So because of that,
Yes.
people don't see the benefit.
No, but Sherry, it's because it was intentionally done by those who came in. Don't forget, you and I were sitting here speaking foreign language as our primary language. It was intentional. It was intentional. Remember, we shouldn't forget like these things happen in a vacuum. The power that were when they came in, they first of all changed the way we eat. They changed the clothes we wore. They changed our language. They changed our religion. Don't forget about that. 1847, it didn't start 1880, maybe 1819, 1820, I don't know. When these people came, they brought things and they started forcing it down our throat. It did not stop. It is still happening today. That even the native, the man who bears the name, who is part of that group, because he thinks that's the way he can appeal to the same power that were.
My man,
That's
I
what he's
mean,
trying to.
forget 1800. Your brother that was here on the show last week, that was commenting on the show last week, the man got two first names. I think it was Ben something. You know, who
But that's what
forced
I'm
you? Who
saying.
forced you to change it?
No, Sherry. This did not happen out of. It's just happen. It was. That's what I'm saying. It was intentional. In that, once over the years, people keep putting these things in your mind. It becomes a lifestyle. People become to, and until you have a new awakening, it's going to be a challenge. Remember, we shouldn't forget. Even when I grew up, when I was in Broville, my name, I was told I should change my name. If I was not a child, I was stubborn. Today I was not going to be called Emmanuel Sapalucia. I'm going to be called Emmanuel Shaw. But I refused as a child. I said, no, I can't change my name. And they told me, say, if you can't change your name, you have to leave and go to your people. I said, no problem. And I did. So these are not things that just happen overnight. These are things that was done intentionally. That people had to remember. We had one history teacher in SDA. His name was Colley, but he put an S-O-N on it. Mr. Collison. I asked him, I said, you Loma man, how can you got your name Collison? Yeah, I asked him that question while in SDA. You know, because people were trying to change their names just to fit into society and get what they need to recognize. Right? This is intentional. Today you and I talking about Christianity before 1827, 1822. There was no Christianity in Liberia. We were practicing our African religion, which we believe in nature. And they change it around and bring the same nature to us in the form of Bible. And today we all got Emmanuel or Stephen and all these names. We shouldn't add it just happen like that. No.
Okay.
So
this thing happen over time.
But gentlemen, look, I agree. Look, Sabalucia, we can put you on the committee. I will connect you with Mr. Boyma.
I am willing.
We'll put you on the committee. You guys make this to be a symbol, make this to be sexy, make this to be recognized. That even the student who is the valedictorian, who just know all his book thing, he will still not fit into society without that identification. But you know, the only way I know today, honestly, the only way I knew that most of my other friends, whether they came from Bon County or came from Grand Bassa, only way I knew that they were part of something, it was when I saw a specific mark on them. Like, you know, I had one of my fellow friend. I mean, the guy entire back, it's just like, you know, he got it. So every time I look at it, I say, man, you're brave, man. Just by seeing that mark, I just knew he was a man. Because the fact that he could tolerate that pain to actually have those marking on him, I respected him for that. So don't hide it. Make it to be like something visible. Explain it in a way that you're not putting too much outside. Incorporate it in schools. You teaching PE in school. What we learning PE for? Now, how many people practicing Liberia PE? But you're teaching PE in school. You got extracurricular activity. Teach it.
We all know how to run behind chicken. They come and teach PE. We can run behind chicken.
Oh, no, but I say all these things to let you guys know. You know, one of my brother, I don't like using step brother or half brother, but yeah, one of my brother came from the same father. His mom was Basso woman. They live in Grand Basso. When we used to leave Buchanan, when we went back to the village, I remember during the war we didn't have much. We would go buy soap. That young guy, I was older than him. That young guy, he told me, he said, "Oh, let's go in the bush and get soap." And when we went in the bush, the guy told me to one tree. He took me to this tree, and he just removed the bark. The bark. He didn't chop the tree down. He just removed certain thing, the bark of the tree, and we brought that particular tree back home. He put that thing in the pot, and the brother boiled the thing. The thing was foaming like real soap.
Yeah,
Foaming like real soap. We put all our clothes and we wash it and clean the clothes clean. How did he know?
yeah,
He went to that school. I did not go to the school. And that
yeah.
brother used
Hey,
to say,
gentlemen,
yeah, go ahead.
gentlemen, we got a caller.
I mean, you interrupt me for caller. That caller better say something good. Oh,
Sorry, sorry.
go ahead, go
Yeah.
ahead, go ahead.
Hello, your name and where you calling from?
I'm calling from North Dakota. My name is Ed.
Okay, go ahead, Eddie.
Yeah, I was listening to you guys talking about this, I don't know, certain tradition, certain custom we have to keep in Liberia as a nation. And you guys made reference of the Kuro Society and the Standard Society.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're trying to eradicate it. If you look at it from a basic point of view, which I think the major aspect of this trying to eradicate it is because if you go back and look at it from the culture standpoint, most of the people that went in the poor society, they were not capable of making, especially the standard society, the girls, they were not capable of making any decision. Because the guy, girls as young as 6 years old, that even joined in and all of that. Now, can a 6-year-old make a decision? No. Back then, they were saying the purpose of this, bringing the society, was to teach these girls to become women. Now, don't look at the age difference between them. A 6-year-old is not a woman. A 6-year-old is still a child. A teenager is from the age of, I think, 10 to basically like 13, 14. Teenager, they become an state, and they go to becoming a female, becoming an adult at the age of 18. Mm-hmm. But if you start to incorporate girls at the age of like 9, 10 years old, I think that's wrong. That's wrong because there was certain practice that has been carried on. I think if you incorporate girls at that younger age, when they become adult, it affects them greatly. Now, that's the whole idea behind it. What a lot of people don't know when you psychologically study the concept behind it. The reason why the poor society, especially when it came to the female, was run in most of our countries in Africa, because these things people looking at it when they look at it from Liberia, but they practice the same thing in Nigeria, they practice the same thing in Somalia. In Somalia, there are a lot of Somalian women that are living in North Dakota and Minnesota. There's a lot of Somalian women that are here that have been part of that before. And when you talk to them, they will literally tell you that they can never send their girls children back to Somalia. Mm. They literally will tell you that. Because I have been doing a research on it and I asked some of them. And they will literally tell you that they cannot send their girls back to Somalia because of the genital aspect of it being cut. They will not send their girls there. Mm. So I thought it was just a joke. So I did there was something I subscribed to on YouTube where this guy was telling, there's a guy who narrates the rich history of this African country, and he made reference to Somalia. And because of this, the girls in Somalia who was involved in this different poor society and the genital being caught and all of that, they engaged into teenage prostitution. Because these men were not doing it basically to teach these girls, or this practice was not basically to teach them to become women, but it was a custom that was practiced basically for these women to be set aside for just these men. Mm. For just these men. Even if you go in the interior today, you go back to Liberia, you do a research study on this thing, you will find out that all of those people that practice the Islamic society with a female, they were not doing it basically to say, okay, we're teaching the girls to become women. They were doing it with a motive that these girls will grow up and these women will only be set aside for those of them that are engaged in this activity. But when these girls become educated, they begin to stress out of the village, they go out there and they engage with men that was never part of this, it become a problem for them. It become a serious problem for them. So this is why you find out that the country like Somalia, if you do a research on it, you can do a research on it if you have the chance.
Okay.
You find out that most of the girls, they got teenage prostitution in Somalia as young as 13 years old. As young as 13 years old, because they were involved in this females, what you call it, Sunday Bush society thing. As young as 13 years old.
So,
and because these girls, they put them in a situation, they become abusive. They take advantage of them. They have no respect. They degrade them. They think of them as less.
So, Edwin, we hear that point. So I think that's what we stress on the show, right? It's not that we are talking about both the good and the bad. And if they are ending the society just because of the aspect of female genital mutilation, that's not right. They can decide to stop that practice. And I think in most countries, they have put laws in place to prevent that from happening. But other good aspect of the society, those should be continuing. Like Sapolozia is saying, and others are saying, there were some good aspect of the society where they taught people how to make basket, where they taught people how to do other things other than that one negative aspect. So go ahead.
Can I ask him a question? Yeah, he made mention about 6-year-old, 4-year-old not being able to make decision, and their parents put them there, and because of that, it should be banned. So can I ask him, would you ban the children that want to be, who are saying they want to identify as male or female because they are 4 or 5-year-old making the decision in America, not in Liberia? This is happening in America. In America, we got children who are the age of 4 to 10 years who are saying if they are born a boy, they say they want to be girl, and the government is supporting that. Should we ban that as well, Mr. Ed?
Yeah, we should ban that because basically, a child, don't look at the word of child or children. When you look at children, they don't have the right to make a decision. So when a child is telling you that they want to be a boy, that means that child decision is influenced by the parents.
Okay.
You understand?
So the reason I made that point, Mr. Ed, the reason I made that point is this. Because based on your analysis of Somalia, I can't speak for Somalia because I don't know for Somalia. I know about Liberia. Everything you said about Somalia when it comes to Sunday school, if you compare to Liberia, it's completely false, 100% false, that it create, they limit the women to a certain person or a certain behavior. Because prostitution in Somalia may be due to different things. In Liberia, the women that went to Sunday school, it's difficult for you to see them in the street to be a prostitute. So that's one thing. Let's put that point out there first. So in Liberia, is the opposite.
I understand.
Now when you look at this, I understand. But this is the point I want to make.
Hold on.
The point I want to make is this. Psychologically, according to the stories that you're reading about Somalia and other African countries that are practicing this, is based on Western analysis. Now, they are telling you based on their scientific studies, but the same signs are telling me that those behavior cannot be made as a child. They're telling me in America that the child who is born biologically as a male, the same psychologists, the same psychiatrists are telling me that child is born a girl, but she's just born in a boy's skin. So which one should I believe? That a child in Africa of certain age do not have the capacity to make decision, but the same child from the same psychologists are telling me in America that same child can make a decision to become a female when he or she was born, male or female. So those are things that I don't want to back. I don't want to base my analysis based on.
If a child is born in America as a boy, and psychologist is saying that this, okay, for example, the child is born as a boy, and the child thinks they are a girl, and psychology is backing this idea. Psychologically, we need to check that system. We need to go back to the grassroots of that psychology. Because
having already in America here. I'm not talking about somewhere far. Having already in America here. So I don't want to buy into that.
I'm not saying that it's not happening. I'm not saying that it's not happening.
So Edwin, quickly, right?
Let's get to
Yeah, let's
Okay,
not
go ahead,
spend
Stephen.
time
Let's end it.
on
The
what we
reason why
hold on.
the reason why you guys brought this topic up and I like it, right?
Mhm.
Because I've listened to people basically they literally talk about going back to like when you talk about the Bible, eliminating the Bible, they will always say we'll go back to our ancestral worship. Oh, our ancestors used to do this, our ancestors used to do that. But basically, if you take the Bible out of the picture and begin to do certain research in terms of the ancestors and all of that, it's not everything that our ancestors basically thought of was right. It's not everything. You understand?
Mhm.
These were because literally the reason why I see most people arguing about it because for me I grew up in the interior and I saw some things and I just knew that they were not right. I literally saw some things. I literally grew up there. I saw some things and to be realistic, I was never introduced to it because there was something about it that did not seem right. Even though we were being told that, oh, this is a practice of our ancestors and this is what we have to do. This will help to protect us. I just knew some of it was just not right. It has some major negative impact on people.
All right, so we got your
It has
point.
some serious impact.
We got your point. We'll continue the discussion. I think we got your point. You in support. So the
All right.
question I have for you quickly though, before just if you can answer that, are you in support of completely abolishing the traditional educational system, or you only against them eradicating the FGM?
Well, I'm against eradicating the FGM. But the
Okay.
traditional education system, I literally support it because it brings some moral values and all of that. But the
Okay.
FGM, like with the men and the girls, I'm completely against that.
All right. Thank you. I think
I
we
don't
all on the
support that.
same page then. Thank you. Mhm.
All right,
Alright.
so gentlemen, basically, thank you so much, Ed, for adding your comment to this. And I think the last time when we talked about this particular discussion, that's exactly what we're gonna. And I think Sapalucia he spoke to that as well. Look, he is not saying that the system should stay in place as is. He is saying the pieces that are in place that we find to be negative, let's take it out. Let's take it out and frame it in a way that we still keep the core value, the discipline, the training, and all of these things that the young men and women get from those institutions, we keep in place. But again, another thing that I will do, with my good friend Ed, who just called, I think one of the questions that we always have to answer is the simple fact. Sapolu says a scientist. I call myself a social scientist. As a social scientist, one of the things we look for, we always try to look for cause and effect, right? Maybe Sabalusia look for that thing too, cause and effect. And because the only thing I didn't see from that analysis, he kept saying that most of the time that these girls end up being prostitutes. The thing I don't see, it doesn't tell me because she went into this society or she went to this thing, it led her to be prostitute. There's no causation there. I don't see the causation. I don't see one equal this. And because I don't see one equal this, we got prostitute little children all over Liberia prostituting themselves, and all over Africa, in America, prostituting themselves. That doesn't mean sometimes these kids come from good home. It doesn't mean the parents were horrible. So unless you can find that causation to say this directly impact that, then it's hard for me to kind of pull my finger behind that particular point to say because they went to this society, that's why they turned out to be prostitutes. But anyway, gentlemen, look, we have to try to wrap this up. It have to be a great conversation, but we got to try and wrap it up. But Steve, I'll let you go and make some statement.
No, I don't want to leave here without talking of my favorite songs and story from Liberia today. You skipped that part. You were the lead in the show. You forgot about me, but I'll bring it up. So finally, listen. This year, something great happened in Liberia. Other than the politics and everything, there's this DJ producer called 2G Beats. He was walking down the street. He met this kid called Smart B, who was a coconut boy, and he made Smart B almost like America Got Talent. He took this microphone to the street. He said, "Who can sing?" Everybody else said, "We can sing, pop by us." When it got to Smart B hit the song, and he made a beautiful song called "God Will." I say, how do you call it? God would, God, I'm something about God. My time will be. Hey God, I'm really forgetting the song. God will send my blessing someday. God will send my blessing someday. Yeah, that was the song. God will send my blessing someday. So that song basically took Smart B. Today, Smart B is a musician. He's, I don't know, I don't think he's selling coconut like he used to sell it anymore, but he's now making music, trying to change his life because he people saw that he was a great musician, and I think that was one of the most beautiful stories out of Liberia this year that I really enjoy, because even some of us are still trying to make our dream come true. Just staying positive, working on what you have right now, you know, what you have, where you are, being content with where you are, and constantly working on your future. Anything can happen for you, you know. So that story really made me to feel like, hey, you know, anything is possible once you stay positive and keep working towards your goal. So I just wanted to end the show with
And
that.
Steve, and no, I'm not going to end it already, Steve. I mean, that's a beautiful story. We should not even skip that story. It was one of our most watched stories on Liberation Rise this year. And so we should not just skip over. But basically, what that story told me, you know, I think people are just really happy about positive or change makers, right? I mean, there's another kid in Liberia, though I don't want to promote him here because he's not one of our guests yet, but who actually they used to call him quote unquote Zogo, but today he's one of the biggest stars in
You
Monrovia.
can call his
And
name too,
you
man.
know, we'll get there at some point in time. The day I bring him, we'll talk. We'll get there. But he's one of the biggest stars in Monrovia now. And Smart B, he's another good story. CRC, all these guys, they all started from that particular area, you know. But these are young people, though, who are actually trying to not let the society dictate what they do or define them. He was selling his coconut, and that hustle came, and today here we have. That story is a beautiful story, and I think people who will just take the initiative to say, "Look, Sapalucia, you, myself, we can all say the same thing. We were not just sitting there and say we're waiting for the government to do something for us. We were hustling, we were doing stuff, and we were helping wherever we can help. So people who will take the initiative and just sit and just go on to try to bring about change and improve themselves and improve other people around them, I think their stories are worth telling. So thank you for sharing that story, man. That was a
Yeah,
good story.
Sapolosia, your
And I
take
think
on
one time,
Go ahead.
yeah. I was just going to try to remember Sapalucia. I think one time he was the first person who shared something about this little boy from one country. But guys, I don't know. You guys were rich people children. I don't know y'all remember. But in Liberia, the children used to build cars when we were children. The children used to build cars. They would frame the car and would tie rubber band on it. They would fix the car and put tire on it, and they would ride it around town. You know, and all of these things, you know, look, I've seen innovation. I've seen kids who are very smart who know how to do stuff. Sabalusa posted something on his page a long time ago. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago about this little kid in Bon County who made something. I think it was a car, like an engineering kid. He built something,
They
but
built a
I mean,
radio station, antenna
yeah,
that can capture radio
yeah,
stations and stuff like that. So I think
it's,
again,
it's
folks, just not promoting Liberia Right, but these are the stories that we wish to tell on this platform, and we pray that this year, next year, you guys follow us, share our show, invite your friends, tell them about what we are trying to do. All we are trying to do is to tell a good story about Liberia, promoting our community, talking about things that are happening in our community. We try to be less political, you know. And if we go into politics, if we delve into politics, is constructive criticism what our country can do to become better. So please follow us. We don't, I mean, Sapolosi, I don't know how to curse. I don't know how to curse. Chevy don't know how to curse. So we won't be cursing anybody on this show for us to get popularity. So you please make us feel happy for
yeah,
the work that we are
yeah.
doing. You know,
My mom still alive. She in Texas.
so
If
be
I
you
call,
still, right? Yeah. So yeah, Shabby, I think you understand my cry, right? We're doing
yeah,
something good, but the people making others feel like we have to go the other side before they click that button to follow us. It won't hurt. It won't do anything
man.
to you. Just follow us, share our show, tell people about us. That's all we need. And if you do that, we can do more things, because the way the platform work is the more followers you get, the way Facebook recognize you, All these places recognize you from followers. So we just need that help so that we can be able to do more. We can be able to be visible out there more to help more children, to tell more children's stories. Again, I will end here with my rant, but I
Okay.
thought I should add it at the end of the year too. Since at the end of the year we can do anything we want to do. Go ahead.
Sabulisha, go ahead and your close on your show.
Yeah, so I know we did a few series on healthcare watch, and one of the one that caught eyes with a non-communicable disease, and it's still a problem in Liberia. Because of that, I keep following the public health situation in Liberia, and I'm disappointed that Dr. Yan, who was trying to uplift the healthcare system in Liberia through the NPHIL, got dismissed for, in my opinion, the wrong reason. And I hope the government or the president can reconsider that and put him back and take that unqualified person that they put there, because she doesn't even have a doctorate degree. Because I have done all my research, and that's the reason I'm saying it. I'm not saying it because under the vacuum, all the institutions that she attended based on her resume on LinkedIn don't provide doctorate degree. So let us start thinking about the country and not just the government. Government are a short period of time, but the country will continue to be. Bouaka administration is going to end. It doesn't matter where he live 100 years, it's still going to end at some point. Charles Taylor is gone. Ellen Johnson is gone. George we are gone. Bouaka, you're going to go. So let us start thinking about the country and not just our individual government. And let us stop fighting for campaign for 2029, 20 whatever, and think about the people who elected us. Healthcare is a dying issue in Liberia. It needs to be addressed. Education is another thing that needs to be addressed. So let us start focusing on those things and make our country better. The reason we keep chasing the US dollars, the European or the euros and other currency is because we are not investing in ourselves. We're not identifying ourselves as who we are. And that's why we're chasing things that we believe in. Let us use the resources we have and develop ourselves so that we can be self-reliant. So Liberians, in Liberia shall rise. It is time that we work together. It is time that we build a new Liberia with new ideas. The war did us something, even though it was negative, but it did us something. It sent a lot of Liberians out of the country. These Liberians have diversified their education. It is time to use or be like other countries, whether it is Ghana, whether it's Rwanda, even the Great Rome, the Israel we're talking about today, that is so powerful that America himself is afraid of. They use their children that was in the diaspora, the Great China as well. They use their children from the diaspora to come back home and build their nation. This is what Liberia needs to do, and we need to start doing it now. Again, thank you guys who have supported us, and we pray that you continue to support us. Let us work together, and let's make Liberia rise. Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, you guys are good ambassadors. I want to give special shout out to my good auntie there in Texas, Caroline Wallow. Basically, I think the Liberian Nurses Association, they do a wonderful job. I think you see some of the posting that she has been posting here. They do a wonderful job for not just that community, but for Liberia. And the Liberian Wives Association, I still got beef with them. They never invite people, but I always see their videos. They do wonderful things in that community. I'm picking on them, but they do wonderful things. Season and Caroline, all those other women.
Our own Dr. Roberts.
Our own Dr. Roberts, you guys are good people. So keep the show going. We'll watch. We are Candy. We can be watching our Candy. So we'll be here. But anyway, thank you everybody. Thank you for following us throughout the year. We pray for a successful and healthy 2026. And God is going to bless you guys and keep you all safe. Stay tuned, guys, and we'll talk to you next
Sharif,
year.
quickly before you wrap up, I just want to say something to Dr. Roberts. Thank you so much. We couldn't have you on here today, but thanks for mental health. Every year you help Liberia shall rise. To Dr. George, thank you so much. And Sharif and Sapolosi, I want to say thank you guys for all you do for this platform. Somewhere, our ancestors are celebrating all of you that are helping to make this dream a reality. So you have a Merry Christmas, happy and prosperous New Year, brothers.
You guys, look, I'm looking for the best for you guys. Sapolosi, man, I'm putting everybody business out today. And I put my mouth on DFW women. Now I'm going to put my mouth on Sapolosi. This man He was 12 years old. That Poro Society worked for him. He was 12 years old when he had his first son. So his son getting married. But on a serious note, the man's son getting married next month. Can you believe it? That someone can be uncle now. The man's son getting married next month, and they will be in a great state of Colorado. And they play
the host. Sherry
they play the man's son getting married. They play the man's son getting married.
Cousin Sherry is the host.
But man, let me tell my story. Let me bring my story. Oh,
no, he put it out. They put everything out now.
They play the man's son getting married. That they play Donald Trump children can get married. Estes Park. Look up Estes Park. That one there. When you go anyway, but the man doing well. Sabalucia, congratulations. We are proud of you, brother.
Congrats, yeah.
We're proud of you. I can't wait to see you and your family in Colorado.
Soon to be grandpa.
My man, we didn't start out 1 year. The can get long way to go.
My younger brother got grandchildren, so.
Oh, you grand uncle already?
Yeah.
All right,
gentlemen, it's been fun, man. We enjoyed it. I really enjoy our time together, and we look forward to 2026 and pray that God lead us and give us all good health.
All right, thank you, everyone, and thank you for recommending me for Liberia Strongman and competition next year. I'm going to represent Liberia Shall Rise on Liberia.
Oh, I saw the man in the gym working out.
I mean, you see the man muscle. The man go buy a medium T-shirt just to show his muscle.
All right, guys, take care, man.
All right, gentlemen. It's been nice working with you guys. Have a prosperous new year. All the best. And may all your positive dreams and wishes come true. Thank you.
All right.
Man, thank you, guys.